Well, I mean, this is kind of one of those videos where it's like, well, we all knew it was eventually going to happen, right? So as of filming this video, we are in the, where are we? Mid-October 2020, almost out of the 2020 fun times. Weatherlight booster boxes are, geez Louise, I guess pushing towards $1,500 a box. I think I've seen only 2 available nationwide for sale, around what, 11 to 1400 range. There's just no supply left. Obviously, Weatherlight was a very special set to me. It's something that a lot of people kind of point their finger at me when I did a Weatherlight box opening video about six months ago, maybe. And I was talking to everybody when we were doing that box opening about all the reserve list cards and all the sensitive cards that were banned, and the cards in Weatherlight I always felt were really overly cheap. Never felt the set got the attention deserved. And I've always told people that, you know, as long as those boxes remain below $500 a box, I was just going to keep buying them. And I've been doing that for years. I mean, I remember I was buying them for $200, then $250, then $300, then $400, then $450, then $500, then $600. And I mean, now we're looking at the boxes have finally readjusted on the open market, probably mostly due to lack of supply, since the cards within the box really haven't done much in actual swing and pricing. But, you know, again, it's a reserve list golden era box from the 90s. I just never understood why it was so cheap. I think the actual correct price of a box of Weatherlight is that $1,000 to $1,500 price range. I actually think today's price is the correct price. I don't think it's overpriced. I don't think it's underpriced. I just never understood why it kind of didn't do anything for so long. And I know it's goofy sounding, but I do think over the next 5 to 10 years, it's probably going to drift higher, mostly due to lack of supply. Bigger story, though, I want to swap over to Stronghold. Stronghold boxes are literally, I guess they're $3,000 to $4,000 a box now. You know, that was another one of them. The first Stronghold box opening I did on this channel was with one of a very old patron back in like 2017, I think. And I sold him the box, I think, for $400 or $500. So we did a box opening, mailed him the cards. And I remember that Stronghold box opening because the guy got 2 Mox Diamonds and 2 Sliver Queens in one box. It was an unbelievable box opening. And the guy, I don't even know if he paid $500 for that box. It was amazing. Anyways, and I remember after that, the guy got very angry with me over, I don't remember the details, but it was something to do with the box itself, or the common cards in the box, or the condition of the box. Something happened, and I remember he got very angry, and he ended up closing his account, disappearing into the night. I wonder if he ever kept those cards, because it was an amazing box. It was the best box opening I ever remember opening on this channel. And the point was, though, I remember doing that box opening and thinking to myself, how is a box over 20 years old that contains Mox Diamonds and Sliver Queens and Ensnaring Bridge and a lot of other good cards, and the set is so small, like 100 cards, you get multiples at times, like we did in that box opening. And I remember thinking to myself, I can't believe how cheap these boxes are. I very clearly remember thinking that. I swear I said that in that video years ago. That video is from, 3-4 years ago now. And so obviously Stronghold boxes, I think about 2017, about a year later, 2018, started to average around that $1,500 price point. But they bounced around, sometimes a low of $1,000, sometimes a high of $1,500. And they kind of sat there for many, many years. And even then, everybody thought, oh, God, what a ripoff. It's so much money. And then the last 6 months, the glorious 2020, just bizarro world really kicked in. And the Stronghold boxes are essentially $3,000 today. And I genuinely believe those are going to be similar to like an Urza Saga box at that $3,000 to $5,000 price range. I know it's very crazy. I know there's no foils in the product. But again, this is one of those products that people didn't collect or hoard or keep sealed. And it's just Stronghold, just like Weatherlight, was one of these products that really just kind of sat there, and it wasn't cool. It wasn't hip. It wasn't attractive. It wasn't sexy. It wasn't fun. It just didn't get people wound up. It was one of those kind of Wrath Cycle mid-range late 90s boxes that kind of got left behind. It was either you wanted the older stuff from like Revise and Four Horsemen, or you wanted like Urza stuff, And it just kind of sat there, and it is what it is. Obviously, the expected value is nowhere near the sealed box value, but with the price of things like when you go back to, when you look at Stronghold, Sliver Queen and Mox Diamond alone, and I have been bashed for this for years every time I bring this up now, those are $1,000 cards. Mox Diamond's a $1,000 card. Sliver Queen I've always felt was that. Is it going to get there? I have no idea. When will it get there? I have no idea. Do I think eventually it'll get there? I do. But that's kind of how it is. So again, if that card it goes to $1,000 in 20 years, that's a terrible investment, a terrible collectible item. But if it gets there in 1 to 2 years, then obviously, so what I'm getting at is the perception and the public's opinion of it is going to be dictated based on the rate of change. Not really what it's worth, but just the velocity, the speed, the momentum of it. You know, is it going to become some sort of Pokemon movement where those, you know, all these vintage WotC era Pokemon boxes are just tens of thousands? You know, that just happens in 1 year. You know, that's a very extreme reaction. But anyways, when it comes to these boxes, you know, I've said it for so many years. I've been bashed for it for so many years. People ridicule it, blah, 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 yada, 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 you know, giggity basement taco. But it's still cheap. You know, I hate to tell you all that. These prices are really just not extreme. It just feels that way because that's a normal human response to any hard price adjustment. I see it in Wall Street all the time. Back in the day when I paid attention to equities and the debt markets, whenever, it's not when a stock goes up a lot. It's when it goes up a lot in a short period of time and it creates a very kind of rippling knee-jerk reaction that gets people just bug-eyed. That's really the most fascinating thing. And I know I need to bring you back some finance videos. That would be a great finance video. The difference between a $10 stock going to 100 in 1 week versus getting there in 1 year, and how the public's opinion of, oh, that's a bubble, it's going to crash, versus, oh, wait, it's slow and steady, it's okay. It's very interesting, the human psyche of how that works. You know, it's one of those things. It's like the game show theory, which is another good video I should really do on, based on how you view money very differently if you're on a game show versus how you view money and capital if you work for it and wait for a paycheck. How you treat the same dollars very differently. It's very fascinating how that works. So just to kind of sum it up there, I just wanted to tell everybody that, you know, my opinion on Weatherlight being a $1,000 box honestly took it long enough. My opinion on Stronghold being $3,000 a box, you know, I think the fact it's a small set and you have so many good cards in it, and Sliver Queen and just Mox Diamond are just such a powerhouse card, man. They're just such an iconic piece of power. I just don't, I have no way to argue that it's going to come back down. Now, maybe some of the cards within the set that were bought up, and a lot of people targeting reserve list cards that are under $5 to try to, you know, buy them out and move the market. Usually those type of situations do kind of cool off and reset and retrace that 20-30%. When it comes to sealed product, though, especially when it's due to extreme scarcity for 20-30 years old, because anyone who has those boxes, or any store that has 1 or 2 on the shelf, they're just not going to be willing to get rid of it. They're just going to be like, you know, I'm keeping it. It is what it is. Or if you want it, you're going to have to pay. And God forbid, I'm telling you all, I'm mentioning this again, I've been mentioning in other videos. God help the Magic world. I'm telling you right now, if some sort of mainstream type of Pokemon event happens in the Magic world, because these vintage Magic items are already expensive and already bought up. If you have a mainstream scenario or a mainstream event happen that moves all these millions of new eyeballs and people into the vintage Magic world of sealed product or reserve lists, forget it. It's going to go nuclear. It's going to be unlike anything we've ever seen. Imagine the Pokemon event happening, but Magic's already been increasing and doing. Imagine what, I mean, and you cannot rule that out. While it hasn't happened yet, it may not happen anytime soon, but eventually, as we always say, in a long enough time frame, most events eventually do occur. And if and or when that Magic event happens, where some sort of mainstream attention happens to these type of collectibles, forget it. Forget it. You go on eBay, there's already Stronghold, you've got a couple boxes left. Same thing with Weatherlight, you got a couple boxes for sale in the whole world. I mean, God help if you have some major influx of people and there's already no supply. So I just want to lay that out there. These are just things that are definitely on the radar. I do think it's it's 2020, and I don't see anything changing anytime soon, especially in the old product. It's just too many people want the product, and there's just not much left after 20-25 years. And I really don't see things changing, and that's going to make a lot of people unhappy, and it's going to make a lot of other people get FOMO and try to go after these products. Seriously. 2020.